Hi, and welcome to The Bright Balloon, a podcast where I'm sharing bright ideas for your balloon business. My name is Sarah Meyer, and I'm a balloon business owner like you, and I love the creative side of what I do, but I really love the business side, which seems to be the part where most people struggle. So I'm here to help. Each week, I'm bringing you an episode full of bite-sized tips you can use to make tiny improvements to your business. I want you to make more money, eliminate stress, and learn along with me as we grow our creative businesses together. Welcome to The Bright Balloon.
Hello and welcome to this episode. Today, I am excited to bring you an interview with the one and only That Balloon Girl. So Kelsey is going to be on this episode. We have a very fun interview where we talk about everything from social media to customer service to just the ins and outs of running a business. And she runs a very lean business. I had no idea that it's just Kelsey and one other employee. Based on what I see on Instagram, I assumed she had a lot more help. So it was fun talking to another very small, almost like micro business in the industry. So we will get into the interview in just a minute. First, I have some housekeeping. So a couple months ago, I released the laser-focused Solopreneur course, which was like my all-inclusive, everything I know about running my business course. And the feedback I got was that people felt like they just wanted certain chunks, which I totally understand. So last week, I quietly announced a relaunch. So now you can actually purchase each individual section by itself. So if you just need help in your social media, that chapter shows how to schedule a month's worth of social media in an hour. If you just need help with your customer communication, that is now where you will find my email templates. I show you how to actually activate those templates in Gmail and use them. And then we talk a little bit about kind of my sales funnel. If you just need help in the area of sales, that is where you'll find a full pricing menu that you can use the photos in. I talk about like the language around my sales, how I sell using a visual menu. And then the final chapter is if you need help getting your inventory organized. So that is about like actual balloons. And that is where you'll find the custom color chart. Because for me, those two things go so hand in hand. It really starts with limiting the colors that your customers can even pick from and then keeping those in stock. So all of those have been broken out into like mini courses that now you can shop individually. In addition, last week we launched, we meaning me and Allie from Charming Garlands collaborated on a grab and go bundle. And I know a lot of you jumped on that, especially going into the summer. Having a pickup option available before the weekend hits is a great way to squeeze even more sales out of your customers, because otherwise you'd have to just say, I'm booked, but grab and goes actually open up, like they unlock basically another revenue stream. So that course is also very cool. Now, if you head over to the courses page, it'll look a little bit different, again, because I've done all this reorganizing, and I'm excited that that was my last course release for the year. I checked all of my ideas and my goals off my list, so that is all you will hear from me about courses. I will keep sending you some reminders here and there, but there are no new releases coming for the rest of 2022, which means that I get to focus on the podcast and some other special projects that are not course related. So thank you for everyone for your purchases and for, I guess, kind of hanging in there with me as I figure out what that looks like and what the podcast is. It's been very fun to provide those resources. But if you're looking for something previously mentioned, like the color chart or the menu or the pricing guide, like that is all in mini courses now. You're not going to find those super low cost templates or resources. And I'll just be totally honest, a lot of the reasoning behind that is for my own self-preservation. I was spending a lot of time helping people reset passwords on a $12 purchase they made 3 years ago. And like, it just wasn't sustainable. So now having those resources included in the larger packages is just going to be easier all around. So that is enough about that. Let's take a quick break and then get into the awesome interview with Kelsey.
Hey friends, I know you've heard about ballooncoach.com, but I wanted to take a second to talk about Balloon Boss Summit, which is the in-person event that happens every year in Florida in November. I've been for the past couple of years, and I'll be returning again this year as an instructor. It's one of my favorite events because it gives me time and space to consider my business goals and network and learn from other balloon professionals all around the country. So check it out in the show notes where you're listening because there are only a few spots left.
All right. Welcome to the podcast, Kelsey, that balloon girl. You are quite the get. I'm pretty proud to have you on here. I'm very excited to hear from you. And I feel like I know you already from Instagram and all of your social media, but give us an overview of your business, where you are, the scale, how many employees, all of that stuff.
Well, I'm so excited to be on here. I've been listening since like the beginning, and so I'm just excited to get to hop on here. So my name's Kelsey Onside. I'm that balloon girl, and I'm located here in Houston. My business is just me, and I have one employee, and we do it all. So yeah, I'm excited to be on here, and I can't wait to hear what we get into. Spill the tea.
That's amazing. You have the perception of a much bigger business, so you must be very busy.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I feel like my installs don't come across that big. Like in my mind, they're just kind of like mediocre. But yeah, it's just really just me and my one employee, and we knock out every single install, just me and her.
And what does she actually do? I know a lot of people are kind of in this season of growth and trying to figure out like how to find help and what could they actually do? Like, do you have any tips for that?
I mean, I couldn't do it without her. I mean, I didn't have her. May is marks 1 year that I've had her as my employee. And so she does everything from like, she inflates all the balloons. I mean, gosh, I need to give her credit because I really couldn't do without her anymore. But she cuts all my tassels. She does all the vinyl for my jumbo balloons. Like, the only thing I do that she doesn't do is she doesn't speak like amazing English. So I do all the communication with like the clients, all the emails, all the social media, all that kind of stuff. And she's not a great driver. So like on the installs, every install is just me and her. We hop in the truck and head out. But that's the only thing that I do that she doesn't do. Like she takes care of all the other things, and I do social media, invoicing, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we tackle it together and we get it done.
That's awesome. So what is like the timeline of your business? Like, when did you get started? When did you go full time? What does that look like?
So I started in September of 2019. Hold on, wait, that date may be wrong. I can't remember if it's 18 or 19. But so I started, and at the time I worked in corporate America, and I traded natural gas, and it was so boring. I had my master's in accounting. So I was like, okay, I went to school for this. I need to do this. I want to make a lot of money. This is what I'm going to do. So I started working in corporate America, and I hated it. Like, I hated the outfits. I hated the small talk around the office. Like, I hated office politics. It was just like, I remember like crafting at my like, I love to make like cards, and I love to like color. Like, I've just always been creative, And so the office environment was just not my vibe. I didn't thrive in that environment. I felt like an animal in a cage. Like, I want to go outside. I want to go play. I want to, like, I just want to, like, I don't want to feel trapped in a cubicle where I'm supposed to like be quiet and attend meetings. Like, that's just not my personality. So I did that. And then finally in February after that, so like 6 months, I had started doing balloons. And then finally on a Tuesday, I walked in and I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm just, I didn't give a 2 weeks notice. I didn't care. I was just like, I wasn't confident that I was going to do really well with balloons. But at that point, I was just like, I don't care. I just want to be happy. Like, I'm going to figure this shit out. So I quit on a Tuesday, and I remember I called my mom. I was like, Mom, I just quit my job. She calls me Belle, and she's like, Belle, well, me and your dad can't help you. And I'm like, wait, are you, because I told her, like, I'm going to try to do balloons, like, make that my full-time thing. And she was like, to me, when she said, we can't help you, like, I'm like, wait, so you think I'm going to fail? I'm not going to fail. And like, I'm going to prove y'all wrong if y'all think I'm just going to like, like, I just knew like I had to make it work. So from then, that's when it really started taking off, because it was like I didn't have an option. Like, I've got to pay my mortgage, I've got to pay. Like, I'm a single girl, I've got bills to pay, and like, so that's just, once I quit my corporate job, is like when everything really blew up, and like I was more determined, and like I had to make it. So that was like what was like a catapult for me. In moving forward, to where I was like kind of dabbling in it, to like it being my full-time, like, okay, this is it, we're gonna do this. And yeah, so it's been crazy since then.
Is that when you also like tightened up like your pricing and your inventory? Because I know a lot of people start and it's like you obviously don't have all of that in place because you don't need to, because it's just like fun money, like it's a side hustle. But then there is a point where like the quantity and the time becomes so much that it's like, no, I actually need to know like how much I'm making or losing, or if this is worth it, or the price per cubic foot of helium, like all those things that you just kind of are like, whatever, when you first start.
Yeah, I am kind of like, with my accounting background, I will say I've always been like a numbers person. So like from the very beginning, like I'm really particular about my time. Like, if I'm not making money, like a substantial amount of money, I'd rather be like at the park with my dogs, or like doing something with my, so like for me, I've like always had to see those numbers before I was willing to give any like emotional or physical effort towards doing it. So I would say I was always pretty clear about the numbers. And like at first, it was just, at first I worked out of my house. I have a 3-bedroom house, and so 2 of the bedrooms downstairs were just for balloons. And so I just kind of had my inventory in there, not a lot, but like, as you know, like if you're in a corporate job, like people are always inquiring, and it's like, oh, I can't take this call right now because I'm at the office, or I'm in a meeting for this. So it's like, once that was like no longer in my way, or like causing time conflict issues, I was able to hop on the call, be more available for my clients, like make things make more sense, rather than just like getting by. I was able to like do things at another level, which really helped me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So did you see an immediate spike when you quit your job? Like, did you all of a sudden fill that time with more jobs?
Yeah, because I also get like anxious if I'm not busy. Like, I'm just one of those people who likes to go, go, go all the time. So like if I wasn't, I was used to waking up and being in the office at 7 a.m. So I did that still, even though I didn't have something going on. So I kind of like started doing way more leg work, taking on more jobs than I would have before. Or I also didn't have that flexibility before, because I would have to be at the office from like 7 to 4, whatever. And so yeah, I would say things just started rapidly picking up, because I would also like have more time to spend on social media, to reaching out to previous clients, to like making everything come full circle. Whereas before I was kind of half-assing it, because that was all the ability I had to do, because I also had to spend my time and energy on my corporate job, which was not fulfilling at all. So whenever I could cut that off and move forward with just doing my own business, it was so much more fulfilling and so much more efficient. And it was like, well, shit, I should have done this, 3 years ago. But yeah, I'm glad I did.
Yeah, awesome. And you touched on social media. So let's transition to that, because I think that's how a lot of people know you, especially in the balloon world. Even just like coming on the podcast, I got messages from people being like, "Oh my gosh, she's coming on," and I was like, "I know." But you're really open, not only about like stuff that your clients would see, but like for other balloon professionals. You're very helpful, like really helpful. Like you tell people where you buy things and exactly how you price things and what things cost. Like you're overly helpful. Are you worried about that in terms of like competition or like giving away your secrets? Like what is your thought about how good at sharing you are?
So really, I think it comes down to I have like an abundance. I know this sounds so cheesy, but I have like an abundance mindset to where I don't really think like I need to have every single job in Houston. Well, I'll start by saying this. So Houston has the second highest disposable income in America. So the amount of money that we have down here is, I'm telling you, it's abundant. It's like never ending. Like it's just like there is so much work to go around in the city of Houston. It's like I can't take all the jobs, like, and I like to provide like helpful resources. So like when people are like, "Oh, but where do you get your bundle?" Like I'll literally post the link they can click on and go to the exact site, and I'll put like the receipt of like which ones I buy, and I try to provide a lot of like value in the screenshot specifically so that people don't come and ask more questions like, "Oh, cool, that's where you get your vinyl, but what's it called?" Like I try to put as much on there as possible so there's not a ton of like additional questions. But another thing is like I'll provide, I like to like put it out there and like let people, like I try to be an open book because it's like there's other balloon people in Houston where I'm out of town, but my client needs this and they'll text me and I need something the next day. I can reach out to one of my other people in the industry and be like, "Hey, hate to do this to you last minute, but can you get this done?" And then they'll do it for me. I'll charge the client and then I'll pay the other balloon vendor. So it's just kind of like a you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Like we're all in this together. It's not like it doesn't matter if we're in the same city, I have my clients, and that's another part of what I feel like has made me so successful is that my clients make the difference because they're so generous, and a lot of times they don't give me a budget. They're just like, "Do whatever you think's going to look good." And so that allows me to be more creative. It allows me to just kind of run with an idea, and they trust me. That's the best part. So while I can share my information, and people can take what they want from it, but like one thing they can't take is like, one, my work ethic. Like my clients know they can call or text me literally at any hour, and I'll be like, "Hey, what's up?" "Oh, you need something tomorrow? Happy to help. Like, thank you for thinking of me." So like I have a really strong work ethic, but also like my clients are like super loyal and they rely and depend on me. So it's just like, and then when you have great customer service like that, like they will be like, "Oh my God, you got to use my balloon girl." And then they pass on the number. So it's like, I feel like my clients that kind of have this like honey hole of like wealthy people with a high disposable income, and they refer me to their friends. And it's just like this amazing trifecta of,
Well, and how did you get to that point? So obviously you do amazing work, your customer service. Do you do anything in terms of like follow-ups or reminders, or do you have any system in place in terms of being like really proactive, or they just keep coming back?
I want to do that so badly because, like, think about it. Like, if we
I do
just,
too. That's why I'm asking. I'm so selfish. I'm just like, tell me everything.
well, no, but like in my mind, if we, like, say every time I book, like, "Oh, here's my client, Laura. Oh, she needs me to do her grandma's birthday." If I just had like a system where, like, I have that in a calendar, and then I don't currently have that, but imagine how helpful it would be, right?
Yeah.
So then say next year they get an automatic email. I've been thinking about this. I was talking to my friend about it. Like, get an automatic email like 2 weeks ahead, like, "Hey, that balloon girl here, let me know if you want to, get something prepared to send out to your grandmother like we did last year." And something easy like that. Like imagine, and then that, so I wouldn't get last minute texts all the time and that kind of thing. So I don't currently have anything like that in place, but imagine how helpful that would be.
Yeah, that would like I have that kind of set up through my CRM through 17 hats. Um but some of my biggest clients are also some of my most like I don't know if I want to say out of it, but like whatever. They like don't check their emails. They like don't
Mhm.
plan. They do I think because money solves a lot of those problems.
Mhm.
So I want more of like a even like a hard copy way to just like reach out to them almost. But yeah, I haven't cracked the code on that either. But yeah, I have a good batch of clients. I just want to I guess like ensure that they don't just like forget to order the balloons one day and then I lose them. So I'm always just curious what systems people use.
Something I also like look like if I was this does never happen, but if I'm like trying to fill up my calendar or something like proactively, you could look back at your photos that you did last year at this time and be like, oh shit, actually we have that coming up, we have this coming up, and reach out to those people that way.
Right. I
Maybe.
just did that actually with graduations. I was like, what the heck? Last year I was so busy with graduations. Where are they all? And I went back and I was like, well, shoot, like I know exactly which schools I did. Like I just need to reach out and send them the photos of their own graduation ceremonies and remind them. Because a lot of times those type of jobs are like a volunteer whose student graduated and now they're not there
Mhm.
anymore. So I need to do my graduation reaching out. But I don't know. I'm also swamped. I'm like, I don't know when I would fit them in.
Yeah, what's busy or what's crazy is I was telling my employee, I'm like, hey, May's gonna be wild. It's always wild. And she like asked off for like one of the weekends, and I'm like, no, like it's gonna be crazy. But then it hasn't been. Like, I don't think I have anything lined up for graduate. I don't think I have a single I have like three graduation things, but I expected it to be like 15 or something like
I
that.
think
But
last year was crazy because people were coming off of COVID and some of those graduation ceremonies were like the first time they could all meet in person. Because I remember having like crazy graduation parties, crazy ceremonies, like, and I had never had that before. So maybe it had something to do with COVID. I'm not sure.
yeah, but you're right. I wish that there was like a way to be proactive. I'm sure there is. I just don't have anything in place. And really, it's wild. Like you were saying, like you've got those handful of clients that just keep you busy. And I just kiss their ass year round. I'm serious. Like whenever they text me, they're so nice and generous. They'll text me and be like, "Oh my God, sorry to bother you." And I'm like, "Hey, you can text me anytime. I will leave a dinner and like go home and like make sure I get their stuff taken care of." Because those people like really do like pay my bills.
Yeah. Have
So
you ever read the Pumpkin Plan?
what is that?
I think it's by Mike, what's his last name? Mike Michalowicz. It's the same guy who did Profit First. But it's this idea that like in order for these farmers to grow these like prize winning humongous pumpkins, they have to like trim away all the little pumpkins because they like suck the nutrients. So this idea that like you basically need to shear off all of your like low end clients and just cater to like your top 10% and only work with them, which I'm like, yes and no. I feel like that would work better if you were more of like a, I don't know, coach of some sort or, a lawyer or something like that. But balloons, it's like you need those small jobs too, because sometimes they turn into bigger jobs. But like that really sounds like you, that it's like you have these big pumpkins that you're really taking care of. And then the little pumpkins are kind of like, eh. But you have little jobs too. You do those helium, you do those jumbos all the time. Okay, let's change subjects and talk about those freaking jumbo balloons. How do you do those and make them profitable? Because all I see is work when I see them. And they look amazing, but that would take me like an hour to make one.
They first of all they take forever. But wait, let me touch on the pumpkin thing
Okay.
because Because no, that's so true. And I really think that's how I've like narrowed down my markets. And so like I tell people my installations and everything start at 550. So like if you're not willing to spend at least that much, then the only thing I can offer you is something that you would be coming to pick up. So like the jumbo balloons, if they want a garland smaller than 15 feet, then also that's going to be something I make for them, but they would need to come pick it up from me. So it's like I'm really particular about my time and how I allocate it. Like, hey, unless you can meet me here at 550 or more, then there's not going to be much conversation between us. And that's why, like on my inquiry form on my website, it's like, hey, like, what's your budget? Because like, and then like a minute ago, someone had put $100 or less, and so I hopped on a call with them and I'm like, hey, just to confirm, like right out of the gates, I'm like, hey, I don't want to waste your time. And, just to confirm your budget's 100 or less. And, they'll be like, yeah, that's all I want to spend. I'm like, okay, well, these are the options I have for you. But if you're wanting someone to deliver and do all this stuff for you, my price starts at 550 and goes up from there. But I understand, like, I want to service a lot of people, but by kind of setting my marker there, it really does weed out like the little pumpkins, like you were saying. And it narrows it down to where I'm dealing with more people who are willing to spend the money than rather than the little people who are going to nickel and dime you. And so it just, and then it's the people that have no problem spending 550 or more that refer me to their friends that have also have no,
Exactly.
you
I
know.
just raised my minimum. Well, I'm in Wisconsin, so we're not as bougie. But my minimum I just raised to 300 in my county, but I went up to 1,000 outside my county because like in the time that I drive to the closest like big city and do an install for $500, I could easily have done two $250 installs in my town where I want the most visibility. I live like in a resort town, so it's like a little odd. But like for me, distance is a big thing. It's like if I'm taking the entire day to do a $500 job, that's not worth it.
Yeah. So for you to like leave the county, how far is that? Like an
Like
hour? More?
to like the biggest city to Milwaukee is like 45 to 50 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Um and parking is crazy down there and I just like I'm happy to go there for big clients like you're saying, but like I'm not going to do a birthday party. I'm not going to go to someone's like apartment and deliver a bouquet. Like that's just not, but I've just gotten to that point. Before, like when I started out, I was like so hungry. I was like, I'll do anything. I'll whatever. But now tightening that up has actually like boosted business because it, like you said, it lets people know right away that you're probably not the best choice for them. And it does it in like a non-snobby way because they're ultimately the ones who are deciding. Like they're the ones that are seeing that minimum and being like, oh, ugh, whoops, this probably
Yeah.
isn't going to be like 10 balloons on a string.
Yeah, and you know what another thing is, like I get people who will call and be like, hey, I'm trying to get pricing. I've just reached out to a couple people and I will stop them right there and be like, hey, look, if you're just looking for the cheapest price, like I don't want to waste your time. I'm for sure gonna be the highest price. Like most people are charging like 20 to 25 feet per $25 per foot, but I start at 30 and go up from there. And so it's just kind of like, hey, I'm not going to waste my time and like put together an invoice for you and do all this work just for you to like shop around. Because if you're shopping around and comparing me to anyone else, 10 out of 10 times, I'm not going to make the cut. Like, I'm not going to be the cheapest. And I'm okay with that because like I value my time. I don't want to go, I'm not going to do it for the cheapest. If someone else wants to work for less money than me, then I would love to pass it on and let them do that because
Yeah.
I just don't have it in me.
So can we talk about your booking process? Just because listening to you, it's becoming clear you do a lot over the phone, which I don't. I don't do like any over the phone sales, but you clearly do. So what does that look like? Someone fills out the form, or they just call you?
Yeah, so what it looks like really is like I saw on your website and all the Canva stuff that you created, and I can imagine that's so helpful. For me, the only resources I always just hop on a call to try to hear, like first they have to fill out the inquiry form on my website. So if people DM me, if people text me, I have this auto reply that it says like I like send it. I don't like if someone DMs me, it doesn't automatically send it. I send it myself, but it says something like, hey, thank you for thinking of me. If you don't mind, will you please fill out the inquiry form on my website? As soon as that's done, you can expect to hear from me within like 24 hours or something. So once they submit that inquiry, I turn around and I look at the date to see if I even have availability on that date, if I even service their area, what their budget is, like so I can like kind of narrow it down and be prepared. And also like they have to put the address on the inquiry form, so I literally copy paste it into Google, see what I'm working with, you know what I mean? It's like if I've got like a $4.5 million house, I'm going to pick up that phone and call them
Yeah,
immediately.
that's a really good tip. Google Street View. I do that too. Well, I do it to make sure that where I'm going is safe. Like I'm by myself, like I check out the city, but then yeah, you can see someone's house and get a really good idea of like what they're in the market for.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no, but like sometimes I'll pull up a house and it'll be like 300,000, which is really low for tech, like Houston area. But then it's like they don't care. They don't have a huge mortgage, so they've got this other disposable income where they'll blow it on balloons. So, but that's just like having all that information in one area. Checking the date, checking the address, and all that. And I also use that information once they book to plug into my calendar. So that's just kind of what it starts at. And then, so then I'll call them, and, people really don't answer numbers they don't know anymore.
Right.
So I have, like, hardly ever do people answer. So then I send a follow-up text. It's like, hey, you submitted an inquiry. Let me know when you have time to chat, so that they know it's me and what I'm calling for. Which seems like a lot of legwork already. But my concern with, like, having a website where people just, like, go click on it and then add to cart and check out, like, one, I don't know what I'll be attaching the garland to. Two, oftentimes people are gonna check, like, try to pick the cheapest thing, and they don't really know what they're getting. So on my Instagram, I always put in the caption, I put, like, the size of the garland and how much it costs. And I also think that, like, filters people, like, oh, wait, that's $750, and that doesn't include delivery and installation. Like, oh, that's kind of out of my price range. So it can, like, scare some people off, or some people will be like, okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I just try to have a conversation with people, like, hey, where are we wanting to put the garland? What's the are you just needing pictures, somewhere to take pictures with? Like, what are you kind of thinking? And then we just have a back and forth conversation. And then we also, like, I always hit on budget, like, hey, what are you comfortable spending, so that I can have an idea, like, oh, I don't want to spend more than $1,000. Okay, well, this is what that will basically get you.
Yeah, I like that idea. I mean, I don't do much on the phone at all. I mean, I certainly talk on the phone if people request it, but like I do feel a bit of a lag from the point where like I confirm my availability and we actually get to the invoice. Like I've cleaned it up a bit, but like I also want to get there even faster. I want to get there like within the same day, within a couple minute conversation, because I think most of the time you can. So I'm wondering if I might test out kind of going more that like discovery call route. Like they fill out the form, I confirm my availability, and maybe schedule a time to talk about it. Like that's not required for everybody, but like there are some. I saw you say this the other day in one of your Instagram stories, that like a 5-minute conversation is like the equivalent of like 20 back and forth emails.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
think a lot of times too, just talking to people like builds a little bit of trust. Both ways. Like sometimes I'll talk to someone and be like, oh, they're normal, even though there were like 14 typos in their email and their email signature was like, please excuse my typos. This is from a US cellular account. Like, I hate that. But like talking to people, it's like, oh, they're normal. And I think vice versa. They can get a feel for me and feel like I'm normal. So I do some talking on the phone, but never just like cold call, because I feel like people are like, what do you sell? And then I'm trying to like explain to them what balloons look like over the phone, and I just want to like cry.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is that also I think there's a little bit of trust there between me and my clients. One, firstly, because I'm not on any other social media than Instagram, and I don't have much on my website. So I'm not getting like random people from Google or anything like that. Like, if they found me, it's because they came from Instagram. So they've seen my work. Maybe some of their friends also follow me, that kind of thing. And I never really call anyone who hasn't, or I never do call anyone who hasn't submitted an inquiry. So that's why when I send that follow up text, I'm like, hey, you're the one that reached out to me. I'm just returning your call, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting that you said you're only on Instagram. I mean, Instagram still kills it for me. Like I get a ton of business from Instagram. But can we talk about TikTok for 1 second?
If you've listened to any episodes of this podcast, you know that I think the most important part of running a balloon business is the customer experience. I like making it easy for my customers to purchase from me and pay me. I like making the process clear, and I like being really approachable and easy to talk to, which is why as a customer, I love receiving that same treatment when I shop for balloons. I love having a party wholesale because they take care of me as their client. They always have recommendations. They treat me with respect. They know the industry, and they make it easy for me to shop and pay. So if you are in need of a balloon distributor or just want to check them out, click the link in the show notes and let them know that the Bright Balloon sent you.
So you had a TikTok moment. You want to tell us about it?
Yes, it was insane. I can't even remember. I guess it was 2020 during the pandemic. And I mean, I swear I'm not an asshole. But so what happened was I posted the time lapse of me making the letter H mosaic, and I just kind of said something like, I get a lot of backlash for charging 350, or I think I charged 250 at the time for these. And if you think you can do it better than me, duet me. So I want to see what it looks like. Like people don't realize how much work goes into those. And so from the beginning, my objective was to get people to duet me and like show how awful theirs were. And then so it would show exactly what I was trying to get at, is that like I charged 250 for this to look perfect. And then when people duetted me and showed theirs, it was like, oh, okay. So it's not actually easy. So people just got so mad. People are sensitive about like money, and whenever money comes up, it's people are like, "Oh, you're calling people poor, blah blah blah." It's like, oh my god, Jesus. But TikTok's also like a lot of kids, so the comments and all the crazy like
But like,
messages.
how did you handle that? Because I would have probably like cried and closed my business. I would have just been like, oh my gosh, I can't be attacked. I'm so scared.
Honestly, it gave me so much anxiety, like you wouldn't believe. Like I remember at first, I remember my mom, like I said, she calls me Belle. She'll be like, Belle, I hope you're not reading those comments that people are leaving. Like they're just mean internet bullies, blah blah blah. And like at first, I did read them, and I was like, wait, these people are like so hateful. But then I realized, like, I shifted my mindset around it because I realized the more people that commented, and the bigger fire that it created, the more money I was making. So I kind of was just like, they can say literally whatever they want. I'm getting paid for this. Like, you get paid per view on TikTok. So I was like, maybe I should like reply and be like, haha, you're ugly. Or like, like whatever that would keep the comments coming. And so, I kind of like played into it because I was like, you get to cash out the money every single day based on like, you'll see how many views you got and you'll see a dollar amount. And I'm like, I can handle some bullies if I'm getting paid. So it was crazy. And then it just turned into such a huge thing. And then I did the interview on, what was it, like Hollywood or what, Mario Lopez, whatever. And he's like, TikTok villain, Kelsey Onstott in Houston, Texas. And I'm
I
like,
would die. I don't know how you handled this. I would cry.
I'm really not that sensitive in general. Like, I just kind of goes in one ear and out the other. I'm like, whatever. But the publicity was crazy. And it was like, I would say the only negative effect of it was all the Google reviews that TikTokers were like, someone made a TikTok that was like, let's get her, guys. And
And
so
you
they,
can't get any of those taken down because I saw them. There's a lot of like trolls, and your response is really good. Like, we don't have any record of you ever filling out a form. We've never worked with you. Like, the fact that you responded is good, but like, there's a substantial amount of like really low. Did that affect your business at all?
I would say, like if someone's just Googling me or like Googling balloons in Houston and I pop up, I'd have like, in the scheme of all the other people, like my review average is like 3 something. And like, you can't not see the negative reviews. But like you said, I just replied to all of them and I just was like, look, our records indicate that you've never even inquired with us. I can see based on your other, I could really go down a rabbit hole with that because I wanted to be like, based on the other 0-star reviews you have left in Arizona, you don't even live here, my guy. It's like it was like people that had never worked for me, never, I never provided a service for them. They didn't know me. They were just trying to, what is it, cancel culture, like trying to cancel me.
Which is
And
crazy because saying that a balloon mosaic is worth $250 like is not even scandalous. That's like, did anyone in the balloon community push back? Because I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. Like,
yeah, that's the thing. Like people in the balloon community were like, hey, no, like I think people were scared to be like, hey, we have your back because it was such like a huge like dumpster fire as it was happening. But like I know that like all other balloon people are thinking, yeah, she should actually charge more because they know how much work that goes into it. So on one level, I was like, definitely being attacked and like a lot of hateful like comments. But on the other hand, I just had to keep in mind like these people have never tried to make a mosaic. They don't understand like what all goes into it. So like their opinion of like what it should cost is really irrelevant because one, that means they're definitely not my ideal client. So why the hell would I even care what their opinion is on how my stuff is priced? Like at that point, they're irrelevant to me. So I just tried to have to like wrap my mind around it so that I wasn't like, oh, I'm sad, because like I said, at the end of the day, they're not going to end up purchasing anything from me anyway. So I don't let people waste my time in real life. So I kind of try to apply the same thing on the internet.
Yeah, that's a good attitude to have. I really like that. Um, and where, like, are you still on TikTok or did you get off of there?
No, I'm still on there. All the videos are still up. I just don't have it in me. Like, I'm just busy, like, like I told you, I only have 2 employees. So, like, I'm busy, like, executing jobs, like, paid jobs I have that weekend, trying to, like, because the thing is with TikTok, like, yeah, you make money off of it, but I'm not getting, like, clients from there. I'm not getting,
Right.
like, because it's, like, worldwide and I'm a service based, like, industry, like, and I don't sell DIY kits on my website or anything. So like really, unless the people that see it are in Houston, I can't make money off of them. So I try to focus my energy on, oh, okay, Instagram, it's a bunch of people here in Houston that will end up buying a garland from me. So I try to be productive in like what social media I spend my time on because I'm just trying to make money at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, that's so smart. What's next for you? Do you have any big plans in the works, or are you just keeping your head down and sticking to what works and grinding?
Right now, it's so hard, like, not to compare ourselves to other balloon businesses. So it's like, and like, some part of me is like, gosh, I need to hire more employees so I can take on more jobs. But then another side of me is just like, I'm so happy with how my business currently runs, and I'm so happy with how much I currently make. And I'm so overwhelmed and blessed with like all the opportunities that I have right now. But I want to open another business. So I want to open a doodle daycare, which is like a doodle is like a type of dog. So I'm very involved in like with my dogs, and so I'm going to open a daycare that's like doodles only. And so if I'm not doing balloons, like that's kind of like a new thing I'm starting. But I was telling my boyfriend this, like I would never sell my balloon business. Like it's way too profitable. And it's just like I love it. I'll never stop doing balloons. Like we get to be creative. It's fun. I don't know how things will change. Like if I ever like get married and have kids, like I'm not gonna be as involved, obviously, as I am now, going every weekend, working every weekend, and
Yeah.
as much as we work now. So I don't know what the future holds, but I love what we do, and I just don't think I would ever sell or get out of the industry. It's so satisfying to me.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Um,
Thanks.
and you're so generous on Instagram. So I'm going to tell people they should follow you there. I'm sure they already do. But like you like educate on Instagram. You just give like free lessons. But where else, if people really want like a deep dive with you, where can people learn from you?
So one thing is I'm on the Fox Creative Share platform. It's like me and 6 other girls in the industry, and they're all have something different to offer. So we all went out and filmed in LA, and so now all those videos and classes are up on that platform, and you have to pay. I think it's like a yearly membership or something. But I have like watched all those and like learned so much from the other girls. I'm like, wait, I think I know stuff now. And then I see stuff that they teach, and I'm like, I don't know anything. Like, I don't like everyone just has like their own way of doing it. It's been so helpful to watch like Melody, the girl who created it, like her rainbow garland. Have you seen those?
Yeah, no, I have it, and I followed her tutorial to make one of those freaking rainbows, and I was like, I did it. It was hard
Wow.
though.
It was freaking hard. I made one last weekend and it looked like garbage. I'm telling you,
I
like,
had to make two. My first one was not good.
oh my God, mine's embarrassing. I didn't post it, and I'm like hoping the client doesn't tag me. Like like those things just take practice, but it's just crazy to think like everyone has something to offer. So whenever I love that platform, and I know we're going to record more. And so you can definitely get my confetti tutorial, like how to do the jumbo confetti balloons. That's on there. I also show how to do my tassels. I mean, I'm showing all the stuff all the time on my own Instagram, but like if you are one of those people who want like step by steps with like a link of what tissue paper to buy and all that kind of stuff, all that's on Fox Creative Share. And then
It's a really like clean interface too, which like I think it sucks when you buy something and then you're like, this is not working on my phone, or like I can't find what I actually tried to buy. Like but it's really well done, I'll say.
yeah, Melly did an amazing
It's
job. And
beautiful.
yeah, I used her. So with every like video, so I watched my friend Natasha Balloons Boutique. I watched her tutorial on how to make that giant arch. And so what's amazing is it comes to this PDF, and at the like I was literally at Home Depot pulling up the PDF, like showing the guy like, hey, no, I need this, and like you click a link and it shows you like like 1/8 inch PVC, whatever, like, cause I don't know what the hell any of that stuff is. So like having those resources, like where to get it, like exactly what size and all that, like that's so helpful. You don't have to like rewind the video and try to figure out, wait, what was I doing? You know,
Yeah.
like it's really, really good. And I'm just so glad to be a part of that. But, so I taught the confetti balloons and tassels on there. I feel like I taught something else, but I also do like one-on-one Zoom calls. So some people, like you can teach a generic class. I feel like there's such a need for those one-on-one Zoom calls because you can teach a generic class about, oh, this is how I do an outdoor garland or whatever. But people have specific questions. So in my one-on-one Zoom calls, I basically say, hey, email me a list of every question you have about absolutely anything, social media, how to attach outside, taxes, whatever. And we can we'll use that list as our outline for the 90-minute call, and we'll tackle all of it in one sitting, you
That's
know, because
cool. And where can people find those? Is that on your website?
yeah, so people can just DM me. I like to take them on Mondays and Tuesdays, but some people don't have that availability, so it's just every class. It's going to be different for everybody. But I feel like they provide so much value, and people are like, "Oh my God, I could have never." Because you'd have to take 50 different classes to learn all those different things, or you can pay $450, which is what I do them at right now. And I'll literally it's a Zoom, so I will walk them around my office and be like, oh, look, this is how they're like, how do I store inventory? And I can show them everything. I have a lady, a client or a student in New Zealand. They're all over. So it's just so helpful that you can get all that information just in one call, you know? So
That's
I really
amazing. Well, thank you for taking the time to also be on the podcast and educate us a little bit. It was so nice chatting with you.
I know, it's so fun. I'm so excited. Seriously, when you asked me, I'm like, oh my God, I thought you'd never ask.
Thanks for joining me in this week's episode. As usual, I tried to keep it bright and light in a few minutes or less. If you wish there were more episodes, you are in luck. You can join us in our Patreon group for our monthly book club. I record weekly episodes guiding you through a different self-development book each month. For as little as $3 a month, you can join more than 50 other balloon business owners in our private group. Click the link in the show notes to join us. So many of you have reached out and told me how the podcast has changed your business, and I love hearing those stories. But you might be ready to take things to the next level. If that's you, you should check out the laser-focused Solopreneur course where I walk you through more than 2 hours of video content showing exactly how I run my business as a solopreneur. I run a 6-figure balloon business, I work a full-time job, I have a toddler, and I produce this podcast weekly. And it's not because I'm more efficient than anybody else, it's just because I apply this laser-focused framework to every decision that I make. If you're struggling with work-life balance, figuring out how to grow your business in a manageable way, and feeling like there just aren't enough hours in the day, this course is for you. Check it out using the link in the show notes.